Welcome to the very first video of my YouTube channel. Just getting started, putting stuff out there. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. I know this video is it might be the worst one I ever make, and that's a good thing because I'll just keep getting better. In today's video, I just wanted to talk about why I decided to start a YouTube channel. Like, what was my reasoning behind it? What I want to talk about, what I want to put out there, what I want to get out of the YouTube channel. And I think first thing is I've watched a lot of videos on there. I think YouTube is such a great resource because, there's hundreds of thousands, millions of people basically putting out free information that could be educational, entertaining, and all kinds of stuff. And a lot of these videos I like are people that are, older than me, giving advice, sharing some knowledge that they wish they knew when they were younger. And being myself as a 22-year-old, I was like, hey, I don't see many other, young people out there talking about the things that people are talking about in hindsight, like saying, oh, I wish I would have invested like this or saved more or had an emergency fund. And it's not even all about money too. It's just about, life lessons, habits you should build, systems in your life, all that kind of stuff. So I thought it would be a unique perspective to go from, actually being in the moment, starting out, and kind of follow that process along. And that's kind of what this YouTube channel is, to kind of document my journey as a person. Like I said, I'm young, just freshly graduated college, so it's kind of that like start of real adulthood for me. And hopefully this channel can just follow me along as I progress through my life, through my career, all that. And so far, some of the ideas for videos I have would be stuff like, going over my net worth, going over my, financial strategies as a young person just starting out working full time. Because one of my interests, I wouldn't say necessarily a goal, but something I'm definitely interested in is the FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early. I think that's, it's gained a lot of traction in recent years, and I probably stumbled upon it a few years ago at this point while I was still in school. But I think the concept of it is important, even if, you're not one of those extreme people that want to retire by 30, which I wouldn't consider myself either. I think you can get a lot of valuable lessons from that movement and kind of incorporate some of that into your own theories, philosophies, your own plan and strategy around your finances and money. And just, set yourself up in a way that you don't have to retire early, but you can sleep easier at night because you're achieving financial independence or on the path to achieving it. And I think that really just, buys you a lot of freedom. And money's something I'm super interested in. I majored in economics in school, and, it makes the world go round. It definitely can't buy you happiness, but I think it is just a tool like anything else. So you can use it to, deepen your relationships or start a business, donate to charity, do all kinds of things that will actually enrich your life and make you happy. And besides just talking about money, I think another topic that I really want to touch on is just kind of living. Like I was saying, money can't buy you happiness, but a lot of things can. And so I really want to talk about those other things, such as hobbies, relationships, like work, your work-life balance, everything else that really forms around your life. And try to, a big focus for me is always living a better life, getting 1% better at things I do, enjoying it, deepening relationships, all those kind of things, because I think you see it so much that everyone's focused about money these days. We are in a cost of living crisis. Like it's, and it can be really overwhelming to just always be thinking about money, and it's probably not good for anyone's mental health. But it's definitely a piece of the puzzle. But I want to, use this channel as a platform to talk about the entire puzzle, not just the money piece. Talk about everything else that's going on in my life, my goals, what am I doing, and kind of have that, path or be able to follow along with me as I'm on this journey, basically through life, through adulthood. And the lessons I learned along the way, new things I'm trying, goals I'm setting, how I'm trying to get to those goals. So instead of, if you're listening to someone who's already successful, they already have the benefit of hindsight and they can say, oh yeah, definitely do this, definitely do that. And I've even noticed a lot of people who will recommend, like, if I was your age, I would do this. But when they were my age, they did something totally different. So, it's hard to take their word for it because you see their path to success and then they're recommending a different path to success. So I think, a lot of this channel will be an interesting experiment. Not too sure what direction I want to take it. I just kind of thought, I have a lot of ideas, a lot of thoughts about what's going on in the world, thoughts about my life, and I just want to kind of put them out there and use this as like a sounding board. So I really want to create discussion, get feedback about my ideas, about the YouTube channel, if especially the YouTube channel, if there's anything I need to improve, because I know just starting out, there's going to be some things that aren't so good that I'll definitely need to improve upon going forward. But even just being able to create discussions about, like I was talking about personal finance, the FIRE movement, the cost of living crisis, like economics in the world, in the U.S., how is it going, or even differences between being a Gen Zer entering the workforce compared to millennials, Gen X, boomers, all that kind of stuff. And I think that's what I really appreciate. I think sometimes, I consume a lot of this content on YouTube, but there's not as much back and forth discussion. And that's what I really enjoy. So I really enjoy, being able to, talk to people with different ideas, understand why they have those different ideas, what experiences in their life brought them to those ideas. And it's, a lot of the political and economic discourse online is so hostile, and it's people taking sides, and when instead it should just be like kind of, having a forum of ideas where you can share your ideas, hear others, and maybe that'll affect your own ideas, or you'll come up with something new when you hear new things. So I think it's important. I'm excited, for a selfish reason, to just be able to have my ideas out there, and hear how other people think about them, or, if they agree, disagree, and hear those differences to kind of deepen my own understanding and get a glimpse into what other people think. And as I'm going along on the YouTube channel, I want to be as transparent as possible, because I think that's another thing I've noticed from other creators that I watch, that I look up to, that, there's always a level of separation between what they're showing you on their YouTube and what they actually do. Even if it's, someone saying, oh, here's how to open a Roth IRA, this is what you invest in, they still leave a lot of up to interpretation. They leave a lot of details out. And I think, a lot of people try to be transparent, but they're still leaving out a lot of the details, not being totally specific in what they did, just kind of giving, the general advice or recommendation or information that everyone does, without really showing the process, really showing how they did it. Again, like I was going back to, it's all about the hindsight. And so I think, by providing a unique perspective of someone who's actually going through it and doing it currently, I think that'll give a lot of benefit and value to people, because most people are also doing it. Most people are not already successful, huge, YouTubers that are putting these videos out for lots of people to see. And so it'll be good to have more perspective of, basically a normal person, not just some content creator throwing stuff out there. So if you've made it this far in the video, thanks so much for watching. And to entice you to subscribe, stick around and see what's happening, just some of the videos you can expect from this channel. I'll be being transparent, going through my personal finance journey, investing, saving, trying to inch a little closer to financial independence. Some other things could be like book reviews. This year has been a big habit and push and goal of mine was to get back into reading. So I'll be doing some reviews of books that I read that I found really impactful, being honest about them, not paid reviews at all, just books I thought were interesting, books I read, what I thought about them. Also, I'll be doing some video essays. Like I was saying, I'm really interested in economics and a lot of the culture and society and just the state of our world right now. So going over some essays about what's happening, my thoughts on it, my unique perspective, and just kind of my ideas about what's happening, what I'm noticing, trends, especially as a young person. I think, so many people are older, or the mainstream media, as people would call it, using that term is just silly, but it's it's a lot of older voices, and I think there's a big disconnect between what people perceive to be true or hear and then the actual reality of people experiencing it. So hopefully I can provide a good perspective of what's really happening when I make those videos talking about just anything that interests me, anything that's going on. So if any of those ideas sound interesting, please consider subscribing, sticking around, drop a like if you liked it. Also, I'm looking for feedback. Please comment. Like, did you like the video? Does the audio sound wrong? What's up with the video? As I'm recording this, who knows what'll be playing in the background? That's another thing I need to figure out is the video aspect. I have a lot of ideas that I can talk about, that I can write about, but I don't know what kind of content you're expecting. So if you want to see me just playing games in the background, or I'll definitely put up figures and images when I'm talking about things, or showing graphs or data or whatever. But anything in the background that you want to see, if I should just record myself playing a game, throw it up, or just get some free b-roll online, any kind of ideas like that, or if you have videos for ideas that you'd want to hear me talk about as a young person fresh out of school, starting a career, interested in economics, just drop that in there too. But really, thanks so much for watching my first video on YouTube. First to come, hopefully many more. So I'll see you next time. Thanks.